I managed to have a few casts this morning before Sam, the Fox Rage cameraman, arrived, and on my first 2 casts I managed to catch these 2 cracking perch. The top one here is just over £3 and 42 centimetres, so I couldn't have really asked for a better start to the day. As the temperature drops as we go into the autumn, there's a few changes that I like to make to my lure fishing that will hopefully help me put a few more fish on the bank. And it's worked this morning, and hopefully as the day goes on I'll be able to catch a few more fish too. It's not just perch that have been on the feed this morning. I managed to catch this pike too, and I've managed to catch all 4 fish on creature baits. And as the day goes on, I'll explain to you a little bit more about why creature baits are one of my favourite types of lures to use during the autumn months. So I'm going to slip this one back now, and we'll get back to some fishing. Swam towards me. There we go. Well, that didn't take long. That was only on, I think that was my 4th cast in this swim, and yeah, I've just had that pike take a hornet. It's quite weedy out there actually, so the reason I clipped on the hornet was so that what I can do is just swim it just over the weed, because it's not that deep here. It's only about 5 foot or so, and I've got the Hornet 4 on, so I was just swimming it above the weed and then it just nailed it. The river that I'm fishing today has got a lot of bankside vegetation, and if it wasn't for this street fighter net or a landing net with a long handle, I wouldn't be able to reach a lot of the river. So it's been a bit of a game changer really. Of course, nailed that. I'm keeping my voice down a little bit because I've just entered a fantastic looking spot, and I'll be amazed if there aren't any chub in here. It's quite shallow over there, probably 2 or 3 foot, but it drops off into a really nice pool down here where it's much deeper, and that's where I think the chub could be sitting. So I've got the normal hornet on at the moment that's going to dive to about 5, maybe 6 foot. So I'm going to have a few casts from straight in front of me down to there to cover that deeper water, and then for covering the slightly shallower water I'm going to clip on a rattling hornet shallow, and hopefully one of those 2 fish might get me a bite. I've just caught a small chub, and the way I caught it was by casting the crankbait as far downstream as possible and then just letting line out through my fingers, almost like trotting a float really. So what I'm able to do is let that crankbait drift downstream underneath that overhanging tree just there, and then bring the crankbait back underneath the leaves and the branches. So I'm going to start retrieving now. And it was about there where that fish took. Where there's one small chub, there's normally more, so if I make a couple of casts, you never know, I might get another one. Oh, that's a nice perch. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, ah. I've just been retrieving this bullhead, and as I was about to lift it out of the water, there you go. Just as I paused it, it came up and took the bullhead, and now it's in the net. Well, the perch have really been on the feed today, and there's nothing better than watching a fish take your lure, and it was great to watch this one actually follow it in, and as I paused the bullhead, it just followed it up and then almost nailed it off the surface. So they're really fired up. Hopefully I might catch a few more downstream. Creature baits are one of my favourite kinds of lures to use all year round, but they work especially well in the autumn, and I think one of the reasons for that is because what happens is between late September and the end of October, crayfish spawn, and what they do is that they gather into groups, and if you can find areas where there are groups of crayfish, sometimes the perch follow, and if you're fishing creature baits or anything that resembles a crayfish around them, it can work really well. I've just spotted a really nice perch sitting in the margins, so I've taken the crankbait off and I'm going to give the spiky shad a try. The great thing is with this is that if the fish follows it, I can let the shad fall to the bottom and then let's see what happens. Oh no! Oh, it's come off. Oh, that was a nice perch. That would have been a nice end to the day, wouldn't it? Oh well, it was a good bite. It was a little bit of a shame that I lost that perch because I think it was quite a nice fish. I think it was definitely over 2 pounds, and it was great to watch it take the lure as well. But what I'm going to do now is try a crankbait again. I've covered the area in front of me here, but what I can do with the crankbait is let it drift downstream and then retrieve it under the overhanging trees on this side and also on the other side of the river. So let's give this a go. We're coming towards the end of the day now, and it's been action packed right from the off. I caught 2 nice perch on my first 2 casts, and I've managed to catch pike, perch and chub, and we've had some really visual takes as well, where I've seen the fish follow me in and take the lure right down the edge, which has been really exciting. It certainly felt a lot more autumnal today. There's been a chill in the air, there's been a lot of leaves falling, and it's getting darker earlier on as well. I mean, it's probably about 4 o'clock now and the light's already starting to go. So I hope you've learnt a few things today about approaching rivers with lures in the autumn months and tight lines when you're out on the bank next.